Now, by now, you're probably already aware big changes on the horizon with U.S. and Cuba, and it's sparking a variety of reactions, statewide protests, celebrations, actually. People in this region very emotionally invested on both sides. Part of Miami's Little Havana neighborhood erupted in cheers as the announcement first hit the airwaves, but at the very same time, thousands of other people living there, many of those just one generation ago, lived under the oppressive thumb of the Castro regime. It's a sore subject, to say the least. Thousands of people took to the streets to protest President Obama and those new changes in American policy. Those two groups clashed in the streets, as far as we know, just in word only, not in deed. None of those protests turned violent. But it's very clear, no part of the country feels the pain or the joy more deeply than South Florida. It's a big issue here, and that's something that local politicians are very aware of.
This deal the president has come up with is a terrible trade-off. In exchange for diplomatic recognition, more cooperation on telecommunications, more banking, more commerce, more travel, and more remittances, in the words of Raul Castro, Cuba has agreed to nothing.
Now, more from Senator Rubio coming up later this hour, but he's not the only politician in the area to try and capture the moment. Governor Rick Scott also piled on. He does not approve of relaxing the harsh stance with Cuba. In his words, not as long as they choose a dictatorship over a democracy. Other politicians, Mario Diaz-Balart, Ilana Ros-Lehtinen, both House representatives from Florida, oppose the deal. They say President Obama gave up too much to the demands of a communist dictator and didn't get anything in return. Now, Congresswoman Ros-Lehtinen stopped by a local radio station to voice her concerns.
Community. We feel betrayed by the Obama administration, who has bartered an innocent man's life. Alan Gross should never have been in jail, and yet he gave away the store. Obama ended up establishing diplomatic relations with an evil regime like the Castro brothers, but nothing has changed in Cuba. The people don't have freedom, they don't have democracy, they don't have freedom for political prisoners, they don't have political parties, free assembly, they have nothing. And in exchange, we're going to give so many benefits, financial and otherwise, to the Castro regime.
Now, we're still watching to see what those benefits might be, how the rest of this could play out. Just this year, several hundred Cuban migrants were arrested at sea trying to make their way out of that country and into South Florida. They would use homemade boats, many of these people risking their very lives just trying to escape the island and trying to make it all the way through rough seas to American shores. Should travel restrictions be removed, there could actually be a lot of changes coming in the immigration policy itself. For now, of course, as we probably already know, Cuba is the only country where the U.S. grants the wet foot, dry foot policy. That means, of course, if migrants are caught at sea, they're returned back to Cuba. If they do make it to the U.S. shores, the dry foot part, they get to stay. So far, there's no official word from the White House if that could change down the road. When it comes to putting an American embassy in Havana, Senator Rubio says President Obama will have a heck of a fight on his hands to get it funded as long as he, Marco Rubio, is in the U.S. Senate. Now moving on to other news. In Miramar, the mayor is pushing for more police on the streets. Now, even though the city is reporting a lower crime rate in recent days, Mayor Lori Mosley says it's just not enough. She wants a bigger police presence, and she wants it now. In fact, she's making her case to City Manager Kathleen Woods Richardson. She says if they do end up bringing on more officers, they'll definitely have plenty of office space and areas to put them. Miramar, that's the city that just broke ground on a 65,000 square foot department for their headquarters. Well, you know, they say catching Mama kissing Santa Claus is one thing, but catching someone stealing Santa Claus, now that's just unforgivable. Police in Boca Raton say they pulled over a suspect for speeding and found Santa Claus tucked away in the back seat. And they say they have enough evidence to believe Santa Claus was stolen. The suspect's name? No, not the Grinch, Crystal Tessa. She was driving a blue Ford Focus with cords and tent stakes dangling out of the window, driving down the road, and that was actually what caught the officer's attention. He pulled her over. Then they found hydrocodone, other drugs in the car, and started searching some more. That's when they saw the big inflatable Kris Kringle all tucked away in the back. Officers started asking some questions. Now, at first, Tessa said that she bought it herself and was on her way to her sister's house to set it up. But when some officers reached out to her sister, Tessa started changing her story. Now she admits it's a stolen Santa, but she says she doesn't remember where it came from. So until the police find its rightful owner, they have it propped up, the big inflatable Santa Claus, on display right in front of the yard at the police department. I think I know who's getting a little extra coal in their stocking this year.